Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are in good health. Alright, in this occasion, we will learn about ELT organization. But before we start, let me introduce our group member. First, I'm Muhammad Parsa Al Farizi as the moderator and the presenter. And then we have Erlin Triaptika as the presenter, and then Salsabila Lutfia as the presenter, and the last is Wulandari as the presenter. Okay, this is the table of content for today's material, such as first organization, and then need and the organization, and then the structure of organization, and then organizational cultures, and then we have style and function management, and the last is a systematic approach to management. All right, for the first material will be delivered by me. Okay, the first material is about organization. School are simultaneously two things, institution and organization. The school as institution will have a legal status with governor or shareholders, a board of management, staff, and student. As an institution, the school will have to conform to whatever legal requirement are laid down for such institution, and it will normally be registered with the appropriate authority as an employer and taxpayer. Schools are also organizations, which is to say they consist of a network of relationships among the individual who regard themselves as belonging to that organization. This relationship will be variously directed towards the achievement of the goals of the organization, towards maintaining the organization as a social unit, and towards fulfilling the personal needs of the individual. Okay, the second material is needs and the organization. As an organization, a school will have to fulfill and maintain in balance three broad set of needs as depicted in figure. The first, the task need are those which have to be satisfied in order successfully to carry out the work of the organization. If, for instance, we take a private school, one of its goals will be to stay in business and to generate a profit. To achieve this, students will have to be recruited, so marketing and selling the school services will be a key task. The second set of needs, those concerned with the group, are to do with the organization as a social unit. For the organization to meet task need, successful group maintains is vital because it if becomes split into antagonistic faction, as can happen given culture different between different parts of the organization. It will be swept off the target. Satisfying group needs give rise to such group function as first setting standard and maintaining discipline, building team spirit, encouraging, motivating, and giving a sense of purpose, appointing sub leaders, ensuring communication with the group, and training members of the group. Finally, there is a third set of needs which have to be met, individual or personal needs. If they are not met, there will be a loss of morale and motivation among the individual who make up the group or team. Meeting individual needs in full, attending to a personal problem, praising individual, giving status, recognizing and using individual abilities, and the last is training the individual. And then this hierarchy is often depicted as a pyramid with the highest needs at the top: self actualization, esteem, love, safety, and physiological. Okay, guys, that's all the material from me. Okay, the next material will be delivered by Erlin. So, Erlin, time is yours.
Thank you, moderator. I will continue the material, which is about structure of organization. What is structure? According to PACE in 1981, colon 64, structure is the deliberate patterning of relationship between organization members. And Mullins 1985:72 state that structure as the pattern of relationship among positions in the organization and among members of the organization. A fundamental concept of organization is the notion of structure. Basically, structure is an inventory or list of what has to be organized. Organization, as we have seen, consists of relationship between people who have come together for a purpose. Traditionally, the organizational structure of a school will be depicted as a variant of a pyramid. The pyramid being either flat or tall, according to the levels of authority and the distribution of jobs. Formal approaches to organization structure have been open to criticism, but Boss and Passy discuss the weakness of formal models, the formalizing the following 5 points. Number one, it is unrealistic to characterize schools and college as a goal. Number two, the portrayal of decision making as a rational process is fraught with difficulties. And number three, formal models focus on the organization as an entity and ignore or underestimate the contribution of individuals within organization. And number four, a central assumption of formal models is that power resides at the apex of pyramid. And the last is part. Formal approaches are based on the implicit assumption that organizations are relatively stable. But 1986 colon 131 app suggests that the validity of the various models depends on five overlapping considerations, and that the applicability of each model will depend on how significant each of these factors is in any given situation, such as the size of the institution, the nature of the organizational structure, time, the availability of resources, and the nature and rate of change in the environment. That's all my explanation. I will turn it back to moderator.
Alright, thanks Erlin for your great explanation. Okay, the next material will be continued by Salsabila Lutfia. To Salsa, time is yours.
Thank you for the moderator. Now I will explain about organizational cultures. Charles Handy in 1978 has suggested four types of organizational culture, and he has applied his classification to the characterization of schools as organization. Handy names the four organizational cultures as the follow. First is the power or club culture. Handy has called the power or club culture is characterized as a spider web with a power source at the hub, surrounded by the concentric circles of intimates and influence. In such a culture, this organization is led rather than managed. The priority of this culture is meeting the aims of the head, and the organization exists primarily for this purpose. Communication within a club culture is informal and personal. The culture depends on a strong head who can pick a good team. The second culture is the role culture. And the underlying organizational idea of this culture is that organizations are sets of role job boxes, joined together in a logical and orderly fashion, so that together they discharge the work of the organization. Role organizational culture arranged as a hierarchy and with roles rather than individuals as the titles for each place on the chart. In such these cultures, the organization is managed rather than led. The third culture is task culture, and this suggests that the organizational idea of the task culture is that a group or team of talents and resources should be applied to be a project, problem, or task. In that way, each task gets the treatment it requires, and the group can be changed, disbanded, or increased as the task changes. These tasks can be warm and friendly. Task cultures provide an exciting work environment. The last culture is the person culture. The organizational idea behind this culture is that the individual talent is all important and must be serviced by some sort of minimal organization. By Handy in 1984. The last material is culture conflict. As may have been obvious from the earlier description of organizational cultures, differentiation within a large organization may have quite different cultural characteristics from one to another, and this can cause conflict. Okay, it is all my materials about organizational cultures. I return it back to the moderator.
Thank you for your explanation, Salsabila. Okay, guys, this is the last material will be delivered by Wulandari. To Wulan, time is yours.
Okay, thanks to moderator. Okay, I will explanation material about a style and function of management. The first is management style, which we already know. Management style involve the method used to direct individual or groups and the relationship between organizational structures to achieve set goals. The style of management exhibited by those who occupy management roles and the culture of an organization. In fact, what goes on in the larger organization of the school will probably be reflected in what goes on in the smaller setting of the classroom. Thus, management style will set a tone from which the classroom will not immune. In other words, the organizational culture will tend to influence all parts of the school. Where management and tutorial style are in harmony, the one will reinforce the other. Where there are not, teacher can experience conflict and difficulty which cannot help but influence the work and relationship with their student. Next, function of management. Whatever the management style, there are management functions that must be carried out such as planning and organizing work, controlling and directing an activity so as not to deviate from the specified direction. The style with which these functions are carried out will depend on the theory or view of management entertained by the individual in the role of manager. As we have seen, style of management and organizational culture are closely integrated, while environmental condition will also influence management style so that in times of stress brought about by external factors, a more autocratic style of management style may emerge in response to need for rapid and decisive action. Next, a system management approach. To achieve success, this approach must clarify the aims and objectives. These aims and objectives lead to the planning and organizing stage, which will begin by gathering relevant facts, ideas, skills, experience, and resources. Once planned, are determined, the group move into action where individuals carry out the agreed upon action. It is at this stage that the monitoring process is carried out. The results are matched with the plan objective and converted into a created plan to accommodate the deficiencies and responses from those involved in the implementation process. Reviewing the implementation process and analyzing successes and difficulties is an important input for improvement planning. Okay, that's all material from me. I return it back to the moderator.
Okay, guys, that's all the material today about ELT organization. Thank you for watching this video and thank you for your great attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.